Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. This is the case of the Idaho 4. This is all my thoughts, my speculations, and my opinions. BF texted DM and said that she saw XANA in black clothing. I wonder why was that strange? Unless there was someone who looked like XANA with black clothing and long black hair. Could it have been a man or a woman with long black hair? And that wouldn't be the description of Brian Koberger. Pay attention to the fact that DM told the officer the person was 2 inches taller than her or 2 inches shorter than her.
Okay. All I heard was I heard her go upstairs and go, okay, I'm gonna go to sleep now because she's going upstairs.
You heard who go upstairs?
Kaylee and Dog Murphy.
And upstairs to the very top?
Yeah, that's where her room is.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden I heard her walking up, I heard her scream, and she ran upstairs because she saw someone. That's what I'm pretty sure she said. Someone's here, and she screamed and just ran downstairs. And I called for her name, but I jumped up and locked my door because I was so scared. And then I heard someone in the bathroom, and I heard her crying, and I heard some guy say that you're going to be okay, I'm going to help you. And I kept calling her name, but she wasn't answering. And then I opened the door for a second, and I saw this guy, and he was not insanely tall, but he was wearing all black, and like this mask, which is covering his forehead and his mouth. And then I locked the door, and I called, and I didn't know what to do.
This was at
4 a.m., yes.
Okay.
And so I just ran down to
You left here?
I left my room down to she thought for a second, and I saw this guy, and he was not insanely tall, but he was wearing all black and like this mask, which is covering his forehead. And
Pay attention to the fact that DM doesn't mention any bushy eyebrows. She doesn't even mention that she saw XANA when she was running down to Bethany Funky's room. It's very selective things she's talking about. Seems to me like it was pre-planned. These people had 8 hours, 8 straight hours not to call the cops. So obviously people are going to assume that something's not right. They could have staged it. Everything that was said in the transcript, nothing has DM mentioned. That is important, that she saw XANA dressed in black, that she saw XANA on her way down to BF's room. Why is she so busy talking about Kaylee only? Kaylee is really important, because if Kaylee was downstairs and she was on her way upstairs, up the steps to a room with her dog, and she heard somebody, and Kaylee said, somebody's here. Why wouldn't DM not lock her room and then call the cops? She didn't even call Kaylee. She just yelled out her name. That was never mentioned before. Not in the PC, not in the affidavit, nothing. Not in the grand jury. So why is she so keen to explain that point about Kaylee? Why isn't she talking about Maddie at all? She said she did not even know Ethan was here last night. Why isn't she mentioning XANA? She would have seen XANA's room. And should have seen XANA and Ethan on the floor and on the bed. There's nothing I trust about these students here. I don't believe this is a psyop and such things. I don't believe this is a cartel hit. Honestly, I believe this is fraternities, allegedly, or in my opinion, sororities, in my opinion, surviving roommates, maybe a bit rugs involved, because these were clearly college students hallucinating and using rugs. The grub truck looks like that's where they're going to pick up their stuff from. I hate to say this, but this is all my opinions. And we saw rugs in the house. We don't know what was in XANA's room. It could have been planted there. That's what I really believe. They wanted XANA and Eaton to look bad. Whoever set this up, I believe, are college students. It doesn't have anything to do with the psyop at all. I believe more like a cover-up. And the cover-up is because the students were lying. Everything turned so complicated, and I believe the college and university, Idaho, Moscow, has to look out for their income. They got 40 to 45% of their income comes from these students. So what's going to happen to their reputation when the world finds out that the quadruples happened because of students? It was the time of Halloween. It was the time of Thanksgiving. They were writing online. They were everywhere on Reddit and all of this saying that this was a revenge on our living. From the Sigma Chi's, from Hanekli's brothers, I believe DM personally was really upset about what happened in Halloween with the girls. I've shown you all this picture before. This was in Halloween. If this is what DM was going through, I don't think she would have bothered to call the cops at all. I hate to say that, but it's the truth. There was a lot of nonsense that was going on. Everyone had beef with these students, with the 4 victims, in my opinion. May they rest in peace. Look at DM's forehead and her face. She looks like she's been beaten. Look at XANA's left hand. It's really swollen. What was really going on? I always imagine if